Big thanks to Kamado Joe for sponsoring this episode.
I've been cooking briskets for a long time, but I found a cheaper way, a better way, a tastier way to make brisket. You know what I pay in the Netherlands for a brisket? A really cheap one. I pay 75 euros and it's really small. But if I buy a whole packer, it's around 200 to 250 euros. Who spends 250 euros on a piece of meat anymore? I'm a YouTuber. I don't pay that amount of money. Seriously. Okay, maybe I would, but it's business expense. But in real life, if my friends and family come over, would I seriously buy 250 euros of brisket to serve it to them? It's not gonna happen. Not anymore. And you're not gonna do it either anymore, because this is what I've got for you. And this is it. It looks a bit odd, but this is it. This is a pre-cooked pastrami. This is what you buy at the butcher's, slice up, and put on your sandwich. I hear you saying, this is not even close to brisket. But think about it. Pastrami is made of brisket. And that's why pastrami has also become very expensive. Unless you buy it like this. This is what I picked up at my wholesale butcher. And this is still affordable. And the reason is that they have techniques and manufacturing processing techniques to make this really tasty, and they're going in large batches, not as you and me were just visiting the butcher and was saying, hey, I'd like to have a brisket, and he has to order one off or maybe two. At least they are in Europe. It's not in the freezer. It's not at your local Costco, and therefore it's cheap. And besides cheap, this can also be very tasty. It tastes like pastrami right now, but I'm gonna show you a way to make it taste even better. So good, actually, that it's going to compare to brisket. Okay, normally I would now fire up my barbecue so that it's getting prepared, but as we're cooking on the new Kamado Joe Connected Joe, there's no need. This thing literally fires up in around 3 minutes or so. Let's not bother with that. Let's start by adding flavor to the pastrami. Now this is my deli barbecue rub recipe. It starts with a tablespoon of salt, a tablespoon of paprika powder, a tablespoon of onion powder, a tablespoon of garlic powder, a tablespoon of cumin, a tablespoon of mustard powder, a teaspoon of dark brown sugar, and a teaspoon of ground black pepper. Mix that up and the deli rub is done. I'm going to take my pastrami and put on my deli rub. Now the flavors are very close together because the deli rub has a lot of cumin in it, as well as mustard. And the reason that I'm putting this rub on the pastrami is to give it a little bit of extra flavor and the opportunity to build up a crust while it's in the barbecue.
Zijn dat het klaar was?
Yes, it's ready. A little bit more. More means more flavor, and more means we're ready to fire up the barbecue. And this is going to be the easiest thing ever. I cooked on this thing once before. This is a loaner, by the way. It's not mine. This thing is coming real soon in Europe. And if you don't own a ceramic grill yet, you might want to save up for this. Look at the first video that we made about this. Do we have a link down below about that video? Wow. That's all the details on how this works and how it functions. For now, I'm just going to show you the easy way to set it up because it's too simple. First, I'm going to take out the grill grate and the heat deflectors. And at the bottom of this grill, you see a ring. That is an electric ignition instrument. Electric ignition instrument. Well, it's probably not the official words, but I don't know what else to call it. It's a ring. It sets things on fire and it's a ring. The next thing to do is to put in some big block charcoal. And now I would normally say, put in some fire starters and light it up. Except we don't need fire starters. The ring is going to do it. All I need to do is add a chunk of smoke wood. This is a nice piece of oak. I'm going to put it in. And in this case, I'm going to sink it in until it almost hits the bottom. Because with this barbecue, the heat comes from the bottom, not from the top. And now you would put in the heat deflectors and the grill grates, close the lid, and just let it do its thing. Except, I want to show you how this works. So, I'm going to close the lid, switch it on, set the temperature, and it says you got to keep the bottom lid closed. Yes, we do. And I can set the temperature right there. I want to smoke at 120 degrees Celsius. And in this case, because there's a conversion from Fahrenheit to Celsius, it's 121 degrees Celsius. Adjust the top vent, very slightly open. There we go. Just a little gap. And hit start. Now let's, for fun, time this. All right, there we go. Set a timer, stopwatch. Start, go. Let's keep a track of that, and at the same time I'm going to show you the app Stevie, that's what I called it. Current temperature 30 degrees Celsius. But we just watch to see what happens. We just hit 120, so stop the timer. All right, it wasn't 3 minutes, it was 14 minutes, but that's super fast. There you go, and I used the app to set the temperature, the right temperature, because it was 121, but I got it now set on the app at the right temperature at 120. Let's take a look and see what it looks on the inside. Perfect lit up charcoal, and as you can see, the heat is coming from the bottom, so that's why I wanted the smoke wood at the bottom, and that's how easy it is to light up this barbecue. Now I'm gonna put in the heat deflectors, put in the grill grates, and the star of the show, the pastrami. Now of course I want to know when my pastrami is up to temperature, so I'm gonna stick in a thermometer. That goes into the first slot. There we go. Gonna close the lid. And because my pastrami is already cooked, all I need to do is get it warm. And I'm just going to set the temperature for beef, brisket, ribeye, and I'm going to take something like a maybe tenderloin or a roast. Let's put it in a roast. And the temperature says medium rare, 63. We'll take that, confirm, because I don't need it to go all the way up to 92 degrees Celsius, which I would normally do, but now I just need to warm it up. And that's where it's going to be all the difference in cooking time. With briskets, you're going to take hours and hours to cook it. This has already been cooked. All we need is a little bit of heat. In the meantime, I'm going to make a glaze. And with brisket, well, that is a really high bar that we need to reach. So we got to add something. And I'm going to think of a double glazed ham, which has loads of flavors, very tasty, and people love very much. So this is basically going to be a double glazed pastrami, which of course is going to be freaking amazing. I'm going to start my glaze with a little bit of butter, followed by a tablespoon of mustard, a cup of honey, a tablespoon of Worcester sauce, and a tablespoon of my deli rub. I'm going to heat that up and marry all the flavors together. All I need for it to be bubbly and ready to go, and then I'm going to transfer it to a jar. When the pastrami is almost done, it's time to check. Look at that, we build up a beautiful dry bark. We got a little crust on the outside. This is starting to look good. We're going to brush on that delicious glaze that we just made and just put on a nice thick layer. Just look at it. It is juicy on the outside, a nice sheen, a nice bark. That means loads and loads of flavor. And of course, we have the pastrami flavor on the inside, the deli flavor on the outside. Let's slice into it and take a look. Ooh, this is so nice. Look at it. Pink pastrami, like it is supposed to be, with a delicious crust. Sorry guys, can't wait any longer. Let's do the taste test. I gotta make a sandwich. Can you do that single-handed while you're chewing? Okay, I'm just gonna slice as thin as I can. A couple of these slices. And that's the beauty of this pastrami. You can slice it real thin. Let's slice this up. And of course I gotta have this on a sandwich. Stack it up. And I like to get freaky with my stacks. Go all in. Just layer it up. We're taking things serious here. A little bit of honey glaze. Ooh. Oh yeah. There we go. And I know I'm comparing it to brisket, and maybe I shouldn't, but I did. Because I think if you want to serve up great food for a lot of people, this is the way to do it. And I used to take my brisket very seriously, but the prices have gone up so much. I want to give you an alternative. I think this can do the job. No, it's not a brisket. No, it's not going to taste the same way. Is it going to be very tasty and delicious? Yes, it is. And on that note, I'm going to give my dog a little treat. Oh.